Alrighty, so I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Justin.
So Justin, what have you been playing this week?
Okay, I can list 2 games. One of them is a game I've been playing last week, and that was Tales of Vesperia. I don't need to go over this again. The other one I was playing was just more Stardew Valley.
So, nothing new.
Nothing new. Actually, I was just playing the online multiplayer of Stardew Valley.
Okay.
Is it the funds?
Yeah, it's alright. Just playing it with an online friend of mine. And for the most part, it works out pretty well. There are some bugs that can be annoying. Like, apparently the knockback for hitting an enemy in the mines doesn't work very well. So it makes fighting monsters very difficult in the mine when you're playing online. Offline isn't that bad. But that's like my only complaint on that, for the most part.
Okay. David, what have you been playing?
In my case, it hasn't been a lot. It's been sticking with a couple particular games, such as the ARMS, with the competition happening this weekend, the Splatoon to keep my skills sharp, and the Smash Brothers to try and work onto the things. But I succeeded in playing a game that I picked up during the Boxing Day sales, which is Wondersong.
I don't know what that is.
It's an indie-developed game of playing as a bard, where every single particular thing you do needs to be done by song.
Okay. So it's like a musical game?
A little bit. Any sort of particular action you want to do, you have to use a song to do it. If you can't make a jump, you call a bird for help to give you an additional boost. And then you go into the crazy spirit realm so that you can speak with a god to say, oh hey, you're supposedly going to destroy the world. Could you please not do that?
So you have to use your charisma in order to solve problems.
Justin.
Mostly singing.
Yeah.
You tell spirits of the dead of one particular town that they're not there to haunt all the citizens. They're just there to be like, oh hey, the world's ending, and we kind of want to be with our families before that happens.
Can you hurt people with insults?
No.
Aww.
Mostly just singing.
Fail bard.
Justin, not everything is D&D. I wish more things were D&D, but not everything is D&D.
So what?
You cannot use vicious mockery in every game.
Hey, if that was a mechanic to hurt people with insults, I think one of my D&D companions like just killed somebody with an insult. It was great.
That does bring an interesting thought to mind.
Okay, this isn't really normally a D&D thing. We don't normally do, but one of my favorite things to do when D&D when I'm DMing is if somebody uses vicious mockery, I have a rule, and I picked this up off of the podcast D&D is for Nerds. The guy who DMs there also has this rule, and I love it, so I'm using it now. It's if you use vicious mockery, and you have to actually say your thing, but if you make me laugh, double damage.
Nice.
It's so good.
No, but just that sort of thought is fairly interesting. Making a combat video game where instead of using swords or physical blows, you use insults.
But, I mean, that would be just one mechanic in it, maybe. But, I don't know. That's just what it made me think of, at least, for that. But, alright.
Game developers of the world, get on it!
Call me, I have ideas.
No. Don't.
I will make you rich.
Uh,
And I will make the players more mad at you than they were at EA, but you'll make money.
Anywho, that's the games I've been playing.
You remember Loot Box Front 2? Anyway, so I've been playing a little indie game as well. Well, little I think is unfair. Because it's somewhat ambitious. It's not Ukulele. Because I only play good games.
Okay.
I hated Ukulele.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But this game was also Kickstarted. I bought a Hat in Time, and I've started playing it.
Nice.
Okay, so let's go over the good of a Hat in Time.
Better for that.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The animation and art style are top-notch. The bad. The fucking camera.
Camera? Really?
I have been pissed off at that camera so many times.
It's not that bad.
I found it really annoying. Like, it's not Ukulele bad, because that made that game unplayable for me.
Yeah, Ukulele's camera was rather terrible in comparison. Yeah. This is like more of a free motion, like free camera.
It is, but it isn't. Which is, I think, the most frustrating thing. So, like, there are moments where, like, the camera's, like if this is the character, the camera's right frickin' here, and I can't pull it back.
Mm.
And I'm like, it doesn't help me if 80% of my screen is just my character.
Mostly for any sort of enclosed space where the camera needs to be forced up toward your character because of either blocking within the stage or just specific range.
So I was
Can you
on.
not pull back the camera?
You normally can, but in certain circumstances it wouldn't let me.
Oh, okay. Maybe
Which,
during like some boss battles that kind of have lock you into a place or something.
we'll get to the boss battle in a minute.
Okay, sure.
But no, it was one of these things where I was like jumping up these like rock steps in Mafia Town, and the camera was just like right up on me, and I'm like, I can't fucking see anything. Or there are other times where like just the way the camera positions itself, I couldn't see enemies, then they'd get a free hit on me, and I'm like, that's bullshit. But like 90% of the time, the camera's fine.
No,
It's that 10% that really pissed me off. So let's talk about the first boss, the Mafia Town boss.
Yeah.
He's annoying. Like,
I think that's kind of being to be expected.
no, but like, there are times fighting this boss, I had to fight him a few times because it kept pissing me off. Because, like, I don't know if it's just an issue with, like, the PS4 version, because you played it on PC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you have it on PS4.
Yeah, PS4, yeah.
Have you noticed input lag? Like, where you go to hit a button and it takes a second for it to react? Because I kept being like, I'm hitting the goddamn button, but nothing's happening. And it was, like, really annoying in the middle of a boss battle. Because, like, it's not that it wouldn't react, it's that it would take, like, half a second.
True.
And when it's stuff that requires, like, precise timing, it's like that half a second is fucking crucial.
True,
Very
yeah.
true.
So, I don't know what it's like in that version, or PS4 version, really, but all I know is, like, for the most part, when you're hitting a boss, the boss has to be blue or for some reason.
Yeah.
No.
But, like, you have that thing
But
where you can,
more
like, jump over
influence.
them and do your, like, dash thing.
Yeah.
And it's that, where I'd be like,
attack thing.
I'd hit the square button, and it's like, nope. And then half a second later, it would go to do the move. And I'm like, that's really annoying.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
No, again, there are a couple factors. The first thing that popped into my mind with that is, again, input lag, if there was any sort of issue with that. The other question would be age of your controller, just with how much
I don't
wear
know
and
about
tear
that.
is
It
on
works
that.
fine in every other game.
I think the only
So-
other particular thing would be function within the animation where it understands the action, but just with how the game supposedly works, it can't do the action until a certain point is reached. But even then, most likely it's just input. And a little bit of lag with that.
Yeah.
Just within my own thought, there's nothing that I can immediately think of within the PlayStation 4 version that would be the issue with input lag. It's nothing that I specifically noticed.
Okay. So, the other thing with Mafia Town specifically is, while the art style is really nice, the Mafia Town as, like, a level is kind of empty.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it
can
has a lot of the
understand
same
that.
mafia characters everywhere in it, so I
Yeah,
mean,
but,
I
like-
understand that.
I don't mind that. It's just, like, there are large chunks of it where there's just kind of nothing. And, like,
Spots where there could be a thing, but it's empty in most respects.
and it's I think the thing is, like, if it were a AAA game, I would be way harder on it.
Oh, yeah.
But because it's relatively low budget, and I do like the style, and it is fun, I'm kind of like, well, okay, that's clearly a budget issue. I can't really hold that too much against the game.
And it's also a question of, would it be better if it was just a copy-paste of just sticking specific things into those certain spots?
No, but it's like,
Or-
here's my thing, is like, you come from, this isn't a fair comparison, and I understand that, but you look at, like, Uncharted 4, and then you look at A Hat in Time. And I know they're not a great comparison, but Uncharted 4 has such a great lived-in world, where there's stuff everywhere, and there's people, and, like, you go through, like, the marketplace, and there's all these different stands, and there's tons of stuff in the world. A Hat in Time, it's kind of like you walk down the street, and there's a couple of tables, and a couple of guys walking around. And, like, that's a function of budget. Because
I think so.
Uncharted has a lot more money behind it than A Hat in Time.
I think so. I think it might also be a case of style in
functionality
most cases.
over, not like not too much attention to detail. Like, if it's gonna impede on how fun the game is, I can understand why they would put more efforts into like making the game flow, the gameplay more fun than making this set more pretty.
Again,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Using a bit of a point that you sort of expressed, where I think, again, I've only seen a couple of screenshots within Uncharted 4 and the gameplay trailer of just how things are, but I can understand the point you're coming from, but I think it's also a case of style, where with Uncharted 4, with all the particular stuff that it's kind of done, those little points, along with money, kind of just adds a bit more to the story and gameplay of things to sort of express it, where I think A Hat in Time is more focused on the platforming and mechanics of how the game works, where, sure, everything within the game is beautiful to a certain extent, unless they kind of had the money to it to sort of add those additional sorts of things, it doesn't take that much away that additional stuff isn't there to the most point.
No, I'm not saying, like, 2 out of 10 this game doesn't have
Those
all the pretty
particular
things that
things,
Uncharted does.
No, I can see that point. Of course, it's definitely not on the level of Red Dead Redemption 2 of all the particular stuff that they could add into it.
That's overkill.
That, I think, is the particular point of overkill.
Okay. I have a few other things I want to bring up about the game, though.
Sure.
So, the mechanics. I like them, I just wish the game would explain shit to you.
Okay, sure. This game doesn't really hold your hand too much in terms of tutorials.
Okay, I'm not asking for the game to hold my hand, I'm asking for the game to tell me the basic mechanics.
Sure. It tells you that you can jump, you can dash while you're jumping, and then you can jump cancel.
I think it
Does it tell you can do those? Because
Yes.
I know it told me I could jump. I don't remember ever being told I could dash jump.
Like, well, it's like a... I think it does.
Because I literally had to figure that out on my own.
No, I think that was the case. It's a particular game where it gives you the controller, it gives you a basis of how to do things, but everything else is left to, you have this controller with a whole bunch of buttons, have fun and find out what certain things do.
Like, Super Mario 64 sort of thing. Like, you're
Pretty
jumping
much.
around and
Yeah,
trying
okay.
to figure out the controls that way.
But that's different.
A little bit, yeah.
Because Mario at that point was an established franchise, which had a built-in language. You knew basically what Mario could do.
To a certain point, with 2 additional things. Where if
Before
you're-
Mario could only run and jump.
You could do a double jump in the previous games as well.
No. Before Mario 64?
Yeah, in Super Mario World, I'm pretty sure you could do a double jump. couldn't
No.
you?
You can't.
Okay, I could have swore you could.
You
But
can do a normal jump or a spin jump.
okay,
Mm,
I'm mistaken.
The
But I
combat
think
can
there's
be okay
also
with
an
stuff.
additional point of, with those sorts of games, it's a question of if you just jump into it right away, or you're one of those crazy people and actually read the instructions in that sort of case. With how it is nowadays, everyone kind of jumps in immediately, and they've adopted the form of, that's how everyone just kind of does it. I think to somewhat fix your issue, it probably would have been a decent idea where from the first room, it leads you to another room that gives you a lot of space to sort of work with either a monitor or something sort of showing all the buttons and what those certain buttons would do, as well as kind of a combinations to give you sort of the basis of how to traverse and do platform sort of stuff, and give you kind of a chance to sort of practice with things.
Or, like, here, the easiest way to do this is to put in a mini tutorial. Just have, at a certain point, Mustache Girl is across a ledge, and she's like, oh, you have to do a dash jump, hit this and this. Fix the problem.
Well, pretty much, Mafia Town is pretty much the tutorial of the game.
Yes, but they don't, like, I think my issue is they don't tell you how to play the game. And they're like, figure it out on your own. And for some people, that might be super cool. For me, I'm like, no, just tell me how I play the game.
I think that would be an interesting thing.
That's-
Someone to create something where if someone is placed into a room and how they get through it gives the game an idea of how to present specific information to them. Where if they just went into the room and were able to pass through the challenges without any sort of issue, either because they immediately get that idea from gameplay or are experienced with how the game plays. The game immediately knows, oh, this player somewhat knows how they're doing, we'll take the reins off a little bit. Where if they're a little bit confused or need some time to figure things out, they're like, oh, okay, well, explain specific things to them in certain points.
I kind of want to see Paul try Breath of the Wild, because that game does not hold your hand with tutorials at all.
Oh boy, I think it's going to be the question of how many deaths are going to be within the tutorial area.
But I do know one thing you would complain about a lot would probably be the breakable weapons. It's everyone's complaint.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I don't hate the idea of breakable weapons in a game, as long as it's balanced properly.
Yeah, you get a lot of crap weapons.
No, I think that would be the interesting thing once he gets to it, would be getting that sort of feel for that system. From the start up to, I'd say maybe up to one of the first challenges within the game, to that sort of particular point. Or at least until he finds a super badass weapon, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did finish the first chapter of the Second World. The movie studio.
Oh yeah,
which is quite fun.
That place is really good.
Which is so much better than Mafia World, because it's like there's always stuff happening and it feels really full, and like there's not
that place
tons
is pretty
of
dynamic,
empty spaces.
And it has like definitely different levels for each level on that one for sure. Well, except for the one where you're dancing in the. It's just a different way how the world plays, I guess.
Yeah, I really like the design of that. It looks really good. And it doesn't feel as empty as Mafia World does.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah, so I'm going to probably play more of it, but it won't be something I'm going to be, like, heavily going after. Because I'm like, this is fun for half an hour. And it's very much the same way I feel about Mario games. I'm like, it's great. I'll play it for half an hour to an hour, and then I want to play something else. Because I can't play this for more than that. Because platforming just isn't really my genre.
No.
Gotcha.
I mean, I like some of them, but yeah. So, have either of you been playing anything else this week?
Not immediately. Most likely, once you guys are heading off, I'm thinking of giving Octopath Traveler a start up, as well as the other particular things to work on that I've gotten together.
I did play a little Sonic CD, as I texted Justin.
Yeah.
I texted you something to the effect of, the opening video alone makes this my favorite Sonic game ever.
I'm like, okay, sure.
Was it the music or just how everything was sort of presented at the start?
It's just... If you haven't seen the opening video to Sonic CD, go on YouTube and watch the opening video to Sonic CD.
No.
Yeah, it's just Sonic just running through a field for the most part and jumping to the little planet. That's all it is, basically.
There's just something about it that just made me go like, okay, I'm on board with this game.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of attribute it to the music because it matches it pretty much beat for beat with most everything that was shown.
US or JP?
I think I mostly know US. I might need to check out
Sonic
the JP.
Boom?
Nah, I might need to check out JP to see how that looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the music aesthetic anyway.
It definitely helps in certain cases, though.
Like, it's weird that the game has two soundtracks, but I don't mind it.
But, yeah, so I'll talk about that more next week, because I barely touched the game.
Okay, fair.
But, yeah, that'll be good. So, until next week, I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Justin.